What is going on, SoFi fans? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So once again, another fun day in the life of a SoFi investor. I'm going to go over the data points behind the scenes, go over CPI data and all that fun jazz. Before I do, making sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe is always greatly appreciated. With that though, let's get right to it. Live tickers going at the very bottom of the screen, 8.5% down, 32.7 million for volume, 5.2 million shares being purchased by institutions on the secondary market. So clearly a lot of institutions are really valuing this discount, but when it comes down to it, CPI is what everyone was really looking at. In general, it was forecasted for it to actually be negative, but it did come in at 0.1% positive. And again, similar to last month, you can see the energy basket right here is down 5%. So obviously that does mean that the rest of the basket items were up 5%. So this is what is causing so much fear out in the market right now. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. Typically I like to stay optimistic, but hands down, even if you do compare SoFi to any other traditional bank, it is falling short. So I think it's really testing right now for a SoFi investor. But I'm going to talk on some things as well, some data points and all that fun jazz. Like I said, CPI isn't necessarily the best, so this is probably going to give a lot of ammunition and this fear carry on as well for most likely at least a week or two. And keep in mind, on the 21st is when the Feds are going to be making their decision on the interest rates. In general though, that's going to cause a lot more fear, despite it being very positive for SoFi and the banking sector. But despite all of that, even Bank of America is coming out saying that we are not at the bottom, nowhere near in fact. And it's funny, just like a light switch, I did a video a couple days ago on SoFi on how I was saying how all the articles coming out were very bullish, which was a nice change of events. But unfortunately, things just did a quick 180. So just looking at the latest article right now, is SoFi a smart decision to buy right now? It goes on right here and talks on basically the fears behind it and its huge reliance on growth. And keep in mind, if there is a possible recession or with huge interest rates or whatever it is, like I said, there's a ton of fear out in the market right now. And right now, SoFi is really relying on new customers coming in. If there's that much fear out in the market, that's just going to bring so much more additional risk. That's ultimately what this article is saying. There's some incorrect information on here. As you can see, it does say that there was disappointing financials and declining growth. I completely disagree with that. So let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But like I said, just like a light switch, the articles and media is very, very bearish. And coincidentally as well, looking at some of the technicals, it did bounce off of that 50-day moving average. So unfortunately, today is most likely just the start of a next wave downward trend. So again, not to spread any FUD or anything, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. Do your own due diligence at the end of the day. But when it comes to it though, institutions buying on the dark pool are still there. So clearly institutions are valuing it both on the secondary market and the dark pool, but by no means where we're used to. So clearly they're taking a step back when it comes down to SoFi. And even when it comes to short interest, I know some of you don't necessarily like this information, find it not really relevant or whatever it might be, but I like to see what's happening behind the scenes. But one abnormality that is happening today is right now they're closing 1.37 million shares of SoFi. So I see that as a very big deal if you ask me. And right now also the short score is 70.05. So once again, the likelihood of a squeeze happening with SoFi is just out the window. So again, let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But still, at this stage, a lot of people want to know what is next for SoFi. Is it more advantageous to buy now? I myself did actually buy at $5.93 or 4 cents, give or take, somewhere around there. So I didn't necessarily catch the exact bottom. I'm completely happy with that. I did get my average down to, I believe it was $6.69 or somewhere around there. Very, very happy with that. So take advantage of these dips if you do believe in SoFi in the long-term grand scheme of things. But like I said at the very beginning, being in SoFi is very, very testing coming from a investor standpoint. Unfortunately, it just always seems to be lagging the rest of the market. Always just so much fear around SoFi. And keep in mind, like I said, for a long time ago, I've been covering SoFi for months now. And like I've always said, to be a disruptive company in one of the oldest sectors is not an easy task. So if you are going to stay in SoFi, you definitely need to practice patience, because it is going to take a lot for SoFi to actually be the disruptive company that we all know and want it to be. So let me know your thoughts on that. But like I said, based on the actual technicals, despite it looking very optimistic, up till today, things are going to be changing most likely. Number of buyers is going down based on the momentum indicator. Stochastic right now is at 40, which in general is fairly neutral, but there is a inversion that is happening, so most likely a bearish trend is starting to form. RSI is currently at 42, but like I said, we did bounce off that 50-day moving average, and we are currently in the lower percent of the Bollinger Band. And looking quickly at the Fibonacci on just where to hypothetically where things might be going, right now we're still between the S1 and the pivot, so not out of danger right now, but still I think there's a good opportunity for us to go up if we hold this support level, which is at $5.71. So let me know your thoughts on this. If you are a buyer, seller, whatever it might be, let me know in the comments below. Most likely, like I said, and I always do say, if we do break past this S1, then most likely we're going to be trading between the S2 and the S1, and keep in mind where the S2 bottoms out at, so $5.08. When there is a lot of fear, there's going to be a lot of talk about a reverse stock split. I know I have covered that quite a lot. People don't necessarily like that topic, so I'm not going to bring that up per se, but if we do get closer and closer to that $5 mark, anticipate a lot more people talking about that, which is just a very bad domino effect. So right now, I think that there's just a huge overwhelming amount of fear in the market, largely brought on, like I said, because of CPI data. And it is a little bit more concerning, the fact that the last 2 months, energy has gone down so much, insinuating that the other basket items are just continuing to grow. But like I always said, there is a lot of delay when it comes down to CPI data, so most likely a lot of these basket items are just being forward brought, because keep in mind, when March, let's say there was something being produced in March, well, energy is significantly higher. That does translate and gets rolled out through all of these products. So it's one of those things that it is not instantaneous. So just because oil and gas is so much and so expensive in March doesn't necessarily mean all the other items go up in March. It usually means in May or in June or July possibly that a lot of these basket items and day-to-day items start to go up. So that's one of those things that you just need to factor in, and everything is typically delayed. So this is why most likely July and August are a little bit more negative. But that's my own 2 cents. I'm clearly not an expert in that regard. That's just my own 2 cents. But with all that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. Let me know your thoughts on where you feel SoFi's bottom is going to be. But with all that, I appreciate you guys watching. If you do like my channel as well, don't forget to join as a member. Link in the description below, or just hit the join button at the bottom of the screen. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching, and let's all make a lot of money on SoFi.